Paid.
responded.
Right? Oh, yeah.
Everyone's like dressed up in real good clothes.
Wow, you got me coffee.
Going like a little
Kidding.
Yeah.
Hunter, do you do
In the
coffee?
sun.
You know how they do a little?
Yeah.
Would you?
Yeah.
Be awesome.
Want some?
Just a little. No, it's okay. It's the benefit of having my youngest here. He was over what? That's Hunter's my youngest.
I know.
Does everyone know Bo, by the way? So Bo's our intern from South Korea, and if you have any holiday activities going on and you want to invite her along, she loves it. So she came to a weird Thanksgiving dinner with us. Wasn't our traditional, but it was fun. Yeah. So anyway, good. And do you ever put that puppy down?
Not
Never.
much. Tuesday she gets her last shots.
Oh
We'll be
God. Oh, and then she'll run amok.
Puppy's big.
So I know.
It's not a puppy anymore.
So how many people in here have worked relocation before? Okay. How many people realize it's different than just working a normal buyer?
It's like 4 hands, right?
It is. It is like four hands. So yeah, exactly. So does everyone know everybody, by the way? Maybe we'll
No.
do a little go around. Yeah. So you're first,
Oh,
girl.
gosh.
Just a quick introduction and maybe a little bit about yourself.
Transplanted from the East Coast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's awesome.
Aw,
You
thanks.
are. Yeah.
Thank
Did
you.
real estate before. She'll
Yeah.
be killing it here soon.
9 years or so.
Connie Cannon.
Extraordinaire. It's perfect.
Extraordinaire.
If you don't know Connie, you will.
And also, if I forget you and you're like saying hi and I don't notice you, it doesn't mean I don't love you. It just means I'm thinking about something and I'm not trying to be rude. Just in case.
All right, there you go. With a K.
Carla Escalante.
Carla with a K.
With a K.
I don't know why that just stuck with me. I like every time I see you. Carla with a K. Yeah.
Yes.
So
Elizabeth Marks.
yes.
I'm Malcolm Schick.
And
This is Coraline,
And
my daughter.
Doctor.
Yes, dog's her. There you go.
Yeah,
Yeah, she just turned 4 months.
Marie Garver.
We don't have any cream or anything.
thank you.
No.
Yeah. It was at 9 o'clock night last night. Rena.
Rena Podolsky.
Mm-hmm.
Page New.
And Rose Ashton.
That's it?
That's it.
Got it? So, people were asking me about Relo, and I'm like, oh, probably should do a class. So otherwise I just repeat myself multiple times. So we're going to go over some, I don't know it all. I'm just going to give you kind of what I do and what I can share. Amy knows everything. Is this nice?
I'm only here because
You
I
want to come?
have technical
Come do it. Well, I told
Brandon
them
can't figure out.
this can make the money like now.
Right.
Like this afternoon, you could be doing this. So yeah, come in. You're the
Yeah,
expert.
yeah.
But I'm doing your thing second half. So don't blurt out.
Oh, yeah.
That's the second half. So
Oh, okay. I might not be here for that.
Yeah, you want to just sit? I know.
She's getting
so
big.
cute.
She's not a puppy anymore.
So, all right. So we have the Relo Queen, and actually, a lot of this. I mean, we've both done Relo for years. Century 21, I was in Relo. Amy was credited in Relo with Prudential, and then you just end up doing Relo. And so there's ways you can do Relo without paying a huge referral fee, which is what we're going to get to on the second half.
Yeah, because the corporate ones are now up to like 40%.
45%.
60.
Mm-hmm.
Ridiculous.
Which, you know, if you get someone who's good at a good price point, it's not so bad. But for all the work you put in, it's awfully nice to not have to pay that at all. Malcolm.
Could you give a basic definition of what this relocation is?
Anybody moving outside of San Diego, I would say.
Or E2.
Yeah.
Moving.
I mean,
General.
into San Diego
But
primarily.
corporate relocation is like if they're working for, let's say, Shell or Qualcomm, where they're assigned. Let's say you meet somebody at an open house, which often happens, and they connect and they don't have, they're moving here, but they haven't really been assigned somebody yet. So you can say, which a lot of times we've done this, where they connect with you, and you can say, you know, if you ask for me to be your agent, a lot of, we'll pay the corporate fee. A lot of times they just want to know that they're going to get paid. the company, and you can say that Coastal Premier, you know,
Is
has
accredited.
worked with many of the corporate relocation companies, and then they just have you fill out the form, and if you have any questions, you just call one of us, and we'll help you through it. Right? How many times have we done that?
Right, she jumped ahead.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
I saw your face too.
Is there anything you want to ask? And I'm gonna leave.
No. But if you come back in 20,
Yeah.
No,
No,
seriously.
but that's a.
but yeah, that's a big
I thought you were
moneymaker.
talking. Wait, I thought you were talking about what I used to do.
I will be.
Oh, okay.
Start yet.
Bo, don't start yet. I'm just kidding. Yeah, we are. But I just thought I'd talk about just the basics of
Yeah.
how do you prepare. And then we'll talk about the different types of reloads, how you can get paid, whether they're affiliated like they are at Qualcomm and they're with Cardis, which is a big relocation company, and kind of how that works. We'll touch that a little bit. And then how you can do it yourself without paying someone like Cardis 40%, which I think I've met with a few of you before. I will tell you, what we're going to share today, if you hang out, is so, I don't want to say easy because everything's hard work, but it's like picking low-hanging fruit. You can start making money on it this afternoon. You can build a really great business and you don't have to pay a relocation fee. So not everyone wants to work relo though. So relo is, as April said, 4 hands on deck. Is that what you had referred
Well,
it
you
to?
said lift up your hand. I'm like, I feel like I should lift 4 hands.
Oh,
It's about
huh.
4 times the work.
It
Maybe
is.
triple. Maybe
It
not
is.
triple.
It's a lot of preparation. You want it to go really smoothly for somebody. So how many people have lived outside of San Diego? Okay, where'd you come from?
Canada.
Canada. Okay, so let's say you have a family moving from Canada, never been here before. That's like really scary. Imagine landing in Ontario and you've never been there and you're moving there, or you're interviewing for a job and possibly moving yourself, your family, your kids, your dogs to Ontario. So it's the other way. Most people are happy about coming here, not everyone. So I always ask. I always say, is this a good move for you guys? You know, a lot of times the kids are kicking and screaming, especially if they're teenagers. So you've got to take everybody into consideration because you're selling San Diego to everybody in the family. Even like, where's the dog going to go to the dog park? So it is. It comes down to not just finding a house. It's not just about being a realtor. It's about showing them San Diego and why you love San Diego and why they're spending $1 million here. Okay?
And
Because-
if you've moved here, you can say like I talked to some people the other day. They're moving from Atlanta, and which is where I came from, which was kind of funny. And I
You've
was
been through
saying
it.
that I moved here 22 years ago, and when my oldest was 5, and so I was talking about how that was because they have 5 kids. So, you relate, kind of share, your experience and what these are the things that I look for. These are the things that are important. And, and I want to hear what's important to you so that you can help them. And if they feel there's a trust there, then they'll say, yes, I want you to help me.
So with exactly what Amy said, it's about them, it's not about you. And so I always, just for like when you're qualifying a regular buyer, you're going to ask all kinds of, remember the when question, if you were in that class before, I was big on when. When are you going to move here? And when do they have to be here by? Like when's the job starting versus when you're going to be here versus when you're going to buy, and are they going to rent ahead of time? So we'll kind of go through all that. So you need to know, because somebody who doesn't have to be here till, job doesn't start till June is a totally different client than my husband arrives on January 1st. And the family will be moving 2 weeks later. That's just different clients. So you need to figure out how to help them. So I always start with a wish list. What do you guys want? Sometimes I'll ask them to email it to me so they can kind of think about it. What's important to you in a house? You'll get all kinds of answers. From bedroom, bath, square footage, view, pool, all that stuff. But you'll also get good schools, 20 minutes or less commute. I like to bike. Where am I going to go? My kids are in gymnastics. My son wants to learn how to surf. I mean, you can get the whole gamut, like what is important. And make sure you include the kids. So please let me know what activities your kids do, because you're going to cover that possibly before they get here, but definitely when they're here. So that's why it's just a lot more work than moving somebody from one house in Carmel Valley to another, okay? So get
Yeah,
that.
we just had a request for somebody moving here, which they just closed. Can you let in groceries and mattresses? Which I was like, that's a little.
That's a big
pushing
one.
it. I know. Can
Yeah.
you give me any more?
Oh, that
I'm
was
gonna check out the
good.
video.
Bye.
But anyway, yeah.
She's
that
awesome
was-
at
that's a
Relo.
little-
I do a lot, so if you have questions, either of us.
Well, we both. I mean,
Nice to
both,
see
that's
you.
What we do.
Yeah, that's what we do. It's one of the things we do. Bye, Aim.
You might even
Um,
have to
yeah.
get furniture for their rental property.
Exactly.
which I did. I had clients moving from India to Carmel Valley,
That's big.
and
Can
I
you imagine?
Mhm.
Wow, exactly.
orchestrated the whole thing.
We did an add-on on a house in the Crosby for a client. So they came out, they needed a room added. I knew someone who did it. It was done before they got here. So it can cover everything.
You
I mean,
just don't know.
you know, everything. So you're kind of at their beck and call. I mean, it's a different, you really are catering to them. It's a very subservient kind of role. Although you still want to take the lead and direct them because they don't know San Diego. So they are looking to you for those answers. But you are kind of in a subservient role. So you're preparing and you're going to start obviously getting to know based on their wish list where you think it's going to work for them. So it's kind of your job to start narrowing down. Now, ask, have you been to San Diego before? You know, do you know areas? A lot of them have been online already, you know. One of the reasons why they're here is schools. Quite often we get schools here. So if somebody's schools, then that might be a different area than somewhere else you might show them. Pre-approval, you need to get the pre-approval so we know how much. So those would be the first spots I would do is wish list, pre-approval, having that conversation to try to narrow down. And then you can start sending information. So I've actually been starting to gather some stuff from Brandon, and I think we're going to do some of our own because we've kind of been pulling and cutting and pasting other people's videos on the area. But there's not a lot of them out there. I'm kind of surprised. And I don't know if you saw my Facebook post looking for generic
Yeah.
videos for Carmel Valley and for Relo clients. So if a group of you want to help kind of put this together, I'm more than happy to because I think we need it. So you want to narrow down that search for them. So when they come in, get them on your schedule as soon as they know when they're coming. I just had a relocation client come. They were only coming for one day. It was the Monday before Thanksgiving. I had them on my calendar for 3 months. And they called me the Friday before and said, we can't come Monday, we're coming Tuesday. Well, I had scheduled my entire family to fly in, so I'd be available starting Tuesday, and we were at Disneyland. So Amy took them, which was great. Then Amy was sick that weekend. She had Relo clients coming, so I took them. So we traded off, so it worked out good. But because you got to have that blocked off, because you're not going to be doing anything else. So I was talking to a Relo client who said to me, gosh, we flew in. I texted the client, we're here. She should have known when they were arriving, I'll just tell you. Text the client, hey, I'm here. And she said, I'm so sorry, I have someone else I'm going to be with till 2 o'clock. It was like, okay, that's wrong, okay? I don't care what else you got going on. If you need help, like if you've got offers going or you need help, reach out to Shanda or me or Amy or another agent and say, look, I got relocation clients coming in for 2 days. I need help. Other than hair appointments, Relo clients are number 2. Amy and I were like, oh, we got hair. Okay, no problem. Which I do. Relo clients are number 2. So you shouldn't have anything else on your schedule. You shouldn't be going out the night before. Not that any of us are big going out nighters, but you should be going to bed early. You need to be preparing. Your car needs to be washed. You need food and drinks. You may be picking them up at the airport. I have people I pick up at the airport. I take them to look at stuff. I drop them off at the airport. You may be picking them up at their hotel room. If they're a big client, you might have a fruit and cheese platter there when they get there. You starting to get the gist of this? This is like big, okay? If you're with them all day, you're going to want snacks. You're going to want to ask if they want to stop at Starbucks after lunch to keep them going because it's a lot.
Or they take you to lunch.
Or they take you to lunch, but I usually say pay. So sorry. Now, if they insist, but plan on paying. Okay? Yeah. Sorry, Connie.
I didn't
Yeah, the family, who's ever with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you plan on paying.
Yep.
If they say no, you're
Yeah.
spending 2 days with me, we're getting this,
Yeah.
But you want to offer and just plan on paying, okay? it's just a nice thing to do, you know. They may, if like, you know, Rich and I do a lot of client dinners. If they're coming in and they don't know anybody, we may be going to dinner with them that night. Or I may be at least getting reservations or getting them connected to where are you guys staying? You know, do you want some recommendations on food? You want to try the best fish tacos in San Diego? You know, that kind of thing. So you're really, really catering to them. And that's why it's all hands on deck when they're coming. A lot of preparation. Then it's the properties. So
And it's your job.
yeah, exactly. And it's your job. Yeah, thank you. By the way, this is your job. Thank you, April.
Then you finally get to the part where you actually do your job.
Yeah, and it's really fun. Like, I still get nervous when I have Relo clients coming in because you want it to go smooth. But within 30 minutes of them coming, you were a Relo client on mine, Paige. Right? Yeah, where did we meet originally?
I don't even know.
A Del Mar house maybe? Or
Oh, I know Sam. I
oh,
met
that's
Sam
right. Okay, so that was
Because
more of
he
a
was helping
referral.
with the
That's
rental.
right. That was a
Yeah, yeah,
rental.
yeah.
Okay. Oh, on
Back
Zuni.
in the day.
Yeah, that was funny.
Yeah.
So you were sort of not. We met at like in the street somewhere or something.
Exactly. Literally was in the
Yeah, and so that was cool. But yeah, so you know, you want that day to go smooth. You want to give yourself enough time. You want to be relaxed. If you're feeling good, they're going to be feeling good. If you're stressed out, they're going to be stressed out. You've got to be that, you know, sound of reason. If they have kids, I mean, I just had a family with 2 little kids in car seats. They wanted to take their minivan. I was like, I need you in my car. Like, with relocation, I have to drive. I'm like, can we please? I'll drive your van. Like, you know, for them to follow me, I can't talk and walk and do all that at the same time. So I do tell them that I'm going to, you know, we'll be talking in the car and chatting, and I'll say, we'll be talking and chatting. I may interrupt you to point something out, but we'll get back on track to what we were saying. So quite often I'll say, hey, hold on a minute, here's that school we were talking about or whatever. So I kind of let them know what I'm going to be doing.
That's a great point, school. So one of the things I do is build in breaks, especially if they have kids.
Yes,
If there is a neighborhood you think they're going to like, and there's a school nearby, take them to the playground.
absolutely.
Give them a chance to run
absolutely.
around and burn some ants in their pants off, and then it gives the parents a nice chance to talk about a house that maybe they would consider, that they would like, and then they get to see their kids at the school and playing and happy,
Take a break.
and it clicks.
I love that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Great.
And
Breaks
if
for
you're
the
showing
kids.
Relo people in Del Mar,
Yeah.
a picnic at Seagrove Park is a winner.
At least to pull up and make them get out and walk over
Get
the
out.
edge and look at the beach.
Well, and that little playground.
And the
with
playground's
swings
right
and
there.
The sand
It's a
pit,
great
and
idea.
You just, you know, or you can just have a blanket in your car.
Yep.
And you can call the pizza place up the street. They'll
Yep.
deliver
That's
to
a
Seagrove
great
Park.
idea.
So,
Yeah, anytime you can get ocean involved,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, with a lunch or something.
right,
you
even
know,
if they're not buying
Poseidon,
at the,
yeah.
even if they're not buying in Del Mar,
Mhm.
just the realization that
Mhm.
the beach is so accessible
That's
wherever
great.
they're moving.
Sometimes, if there's not time and they don't want to waste time getting lunch or doing a picnic, you're getting sandwiches, you're arranging them, and you're picking them up, and you're eating in the car.
Yep.
So it's about them. If they want a long 2-hour lunch, it's about them. So, so you do want to ask if they're so usually they're interviewing. Sometimes they haven't accepted position. Sometimes they're interviewing. So it's appropriate to ask. What you have to be careful about, so they're going to go out and look at houses, and let's say, like, I have people right now, he's getting an interview this week. He's with D.R. Horton, the builder. He's a lender. So it's cool they're working with us. You think they have their own agents. So he hasn't got his offer yet. So they flew in last week because they wanted to see what housing costs were. Now he's gone back with that offer to ask for things. Be careful about getting in the middle of that too much. You don't want to be like, oh yeah, you need to be, you know, you're only qualified to here. You know, just be cautious with that. You don't want to, you know, blackball a company or anything. So don't get in their business too much. It's not your job to negotiate their price. But if they get here and they're looking up to $1.2 million and they go, gosh, we really need to go up higher, you know, that's going to be their decision. I mean, I just tell them, I try not to take you up higher unless you guys want to do that. You know, if we're not finding what you want, you got to go to $1.4 million, $1.5 million. Then you can negotiate on your end what you need to do. So try not to get into that. Sometimes the company pays for closing costs, moving expenses, and we'll kind of talk about an official corporate relo in a second. But sometimes that's good to know if they're paying for some of those things. Time frame areas, homes, schools. So when I get their wish list and I find out about what activities they like to do, sometimes it's nice to, and we could put this together. I used to have one. It's like a questionnaire. You know, your kids, ages, grades, specific activities. What do you like to do? So if I've got Carmel Valley people, I'm usually, if it works out, taking them on a tour of Bay Club. If there's something there, you could go to Crunch. I mean, you know, you can go to the schools. If they're looking at private schools, you can arrange for tours for the private schools while they're here. So maybe they spend a half day with you, and then the other half day they go and they talk to some schools. So all that has to be worked out. What I like to do is know ahead of time what time frame they're with me. So if they're coming for 4 full days, I don't want them 4 full days. You know, even like half days are great. I tell them it's San Diego, take the kids to SeaWorld, go do something fun. You guys are going to need a break. So you know, you want them to be enjoying themselves as well, and you don't want to burn yourself out. If they're only here 2 days, then you're probably with them those 2 days. But I always make it clear, okay, I'm going to start with you guys about 9 or 10 o'clock, and then we'll probably be done by about 3. Does that sound okay to you? You know, or whatever it is. So everybody knows, because you don't want to plan the whole day, and they get in your car and they go, we're going to be done at noon. It's just, your head will just go, oh my gosh. I have put people in my car before, and I thought we were going in this direction, and by the first house I knew it was all wrong. So I dropped them off for breakfast. I came back to the office. I probably called Amy and said 911, and we just regrouped, and out I went and got him, and I just told him. I said, you know what? I planned it wrong, and I need to redo it. So, you know, smooth and happy for them. Let's take you out for breakfast. So, I know. Yeah. So that's where it kind of goes a little squirrely.
One thing that I learned is
Yes.
when they're coming for 4 days and they're interviewing at schools and factors that are important in the decision of where they're going to be looking, I let them know, why don't we schedule that first, do that on the first
That's a good
couple of
idea.
days so that you let me know what areas are the ones that you prefer, and because I have started the other way around,
I love
where I
that.
show them all the other areas and then they're like, no, we decided to do school that's over there.
Gotta be this school.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, so
Okay,
I
write that
have
one
that
down.
conversation and I reverse, I have them do all those interviews and all
Schools
those
first.
visits first.
And while they're free and on their own, hold that thought,
Yeah.
while they're free and on their own, remind them if they walk into model homes,
Mm-hmm.
not to go without you. If they walk into an open house, to tell people they're working with you, because, you know, they're here to look. So, Marie.
I just wanted to share that some families are guided more by their access to their religious
Mm-hmm. Yep.
affiliation is
Sure.
more important than
Sure.
schools.
Church,
So,
walking
you know,
somewhere.
they need to be walking distance from
Yep.
wherever they go to services.
Yep. So go check out the churches first, or the, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever it is.
And some of that you can do ahead of time by, you know, asking the questions, of course, before you meet them, and send them a list of places and the links and all of that.
Mm-hmm. Everyone should know greatschools.org also. Has all the test scores for the schools. That's a big one, so they can figure that out. I mean, we have awesome public schools, but we also have awesome private schools.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So that's pretty much sort of getting ready to get ready. So you know let's say they're coming in tomorrow morning. Let's say you're going to pick them up at their hotel at 9:30. Give yourself a little bit of breathing room. Throwing in a couple vacant houses is helpful in between. If you're showing 10 or 12 houses a day, it's nice to have some vacants so you can kind of adjust your time if you're, and it's okay to push them along if they're slow or too fast. You know, just let them know that we have appointments, so I may be like pushing you off to the next house. Just let them know what to expect, so they're not like, we can always go back tomorrow.
Also, you don't want to zigzag all over town, so
No.
you have to map it and go in a circle and end up at the right place.
And usually start at your lower price home and work your way up. If you do it the other way, you've completely screwed yourself. New homes are always last, because nothing looks good after new models.
That's right.
Mhm.
And I always prepare them.
Yes.
Before
The
they
new
go
home
into
drug.
a new home. Yeah, you're gonna fall in love with it, just remember that this is not what it's gonna look like once it's yours.
Unless you pay an extra 500,000 and all the fees.
Right.
You know, a lot of people don't want the
Yeah.
fees. Yeah. Yeah, this is not, we can make it look like this, but
But
you're
you
gonna
still
take,
have to do your
It looks
own
like that.
backyard.
yes, you
Front
still gotta
yard.
put your
But
yard
the part
in.
that they're giving you is like 500,000 less than what it's gonna take
Exactly,
for it
to
like
get
this.
like
And
this.
it's still, you will need some help. Most people will need some help.
Yes,
Then you need to
They
decorate.
all want the furniture.
of course.
They
of
go like
course.
this.
I want it
I sold
all.
a model
Yeah.
home with everything in it once.
Yeah.
Really? They
Yeah.
could sell them all?
Yeah.
Everything in it
Oh,
for the right
wow.
price.
Yeah.
She's Louisa.
Yeah. Okay, so rest up. It's marathon day. So when I get them, whether they come out to the car and meet me or I walk in, I usually take 10 or 15 minutes just to talk to them before we actually start driving. So, you know, how was your trip? How's everything? Blah, blah, blah. And then this is sort of what we can expect today. Now, if they're coming just to look, I don't care if anybody's in my car and they're just looking. I say, you may find a house you love. And that's okay. It may be the first house.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't want them thinking, oh my God, it's the first house. I can't buy it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we may come back to it.
Oh.
So, yeah, so I prepare them. Even though we're looking, you may find something you like. So we'll see. If not, that's okay. We're going to narrow down and
I
figure
showed
it out.
19 homes in 2 days, and they bought the first house.
there you go.
And we went back and got the first house.
Yeah,
so.
there's a good example. I had one
And
client
I didn't
who, yeah.
shower.
Yeah.
My hair did
Yeah,
not
no.
look good. I did
Ponytail. Exactly. So arrange for where you're picking them up or where you're meeting them. If you're meeting them at the first house, I usually like to drop their car somewhere so they're with me, so I can take control a little bit. You're showing an area. You're not just showing homes. So if they're here to buy, you're probably showing homes more. If they're here to look at areas and get an idea and narrow down, let's say they're looking at Carmel Valley, Carlsbad, and Scripps Ranch. 3 totally different areas, okay? And let's say you've got 2 days. So, yeah, that's pretty typical. That's, yeah. Now, if I can eliminate something for them, like if they're like, oh, I'm working at Sereno Valley, I don't want a long commute, then I might say, hey, we may not want to look at these other areas, you know, or I might throw one in. But a lot of times it's picking kind of a few houses to get them a taste and the neighborhood. So, like, if I'm showing Carmel Valley, I'm taking them to the beach. They got to know what's here, unless they've already been here. Have you been here before? Have you seen the beach? Do you know what's here? You know, because they're buying into this. It's like that's part of who we are, right? So, you know, I might drive depending on what their interests are. You know, I might be on 101 more. I might be at Cedros. You know, I might be into, like you were saying, stop at the park. I might stop at the shopping center. We might grab lunch at a shopping center so they can walk through Ralph's for a minute and kind of see how things look. It's either going to feel like home or it's not. They're going to look at a tract home and either feel like home or they're going to, oh my God, I can't live here. You know, or they're going to move to the beach and they're going to look at a nice size home next to a shack and they're going to go, I can't live here. So they're going to start feeling for like what works for them. Yeah.
I don't know if you do this. Something I found really helpful is to bring my iPad, get the Wi-Fi going in the car, have HomeSnap up on the iPad, so that way when they're driving through areas, they see houses and they want to say, well, how much is that? They can just punch things in the back seat, front seat, whatever. As I'm talking to maybe the husband, the wife's in the back punching buttons and say, oh wow, I had no idea it's something that expensive, but that's what I want. I like this neighborhood. I like how this looks, and they can, you know, tag things. I can look at them later. So,
You're brave. So my experience has been every time I do that, they want to ping and stop and get off of where we're at. So that's the only
So
reason
I'll drive
why I
by.
don't. Yeah.
I'll drive by because I
Yeah.
want them to get a sense of the neighborhood. And I say to them, you know, that's not on our tour today, but why don't we take a look at all the things that you look. At the end of the day, after we see
We can come
everything,
back.
we can come back, we can circle around and say, okay, well, what did we like today? What did we not like today?
Perfect.
Do you want to go back to those areas? I can make those appointments for you for tomorrow.
Perfect.
But
Perfect.
I'll drive through just to have them get a sense of the area because
Exactly.
if they're moving from Canada, they have no idea.
Exactly
The
how it
prices, the
feels.
neighborhoods, how it feels, anything.
Or what if there's a neighborhood you know of, but there's nothing for sale?
Exactly.
Right?
Yes, right.
So
They
that's
can
a drive
say,
through.
oh,
Yeah.
that's, you know,
And put that on your schedule for the day. Like, okay, we're gonna look at whatever neighborhood, and then we're gonna go drive this one. You know, I don't have anything here. Here's some examples of what's in there. So that's great. Yeah, I had one girl who was a girlfriend in the back seat. He was hungover and couldn't speak,
oh boy.
Yeah, those are fun.
and she was like, "But I want this one," and I knew he didn't want to spend that much. It was super awkward, so I gave them up. Yeah, they were referred to me, and I was just like, I don't want to do this. But yeah, that's great. Yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah. So clean your car. Make sure you got gas. I'll usually put an ice chest in and fill it with at least cold water, drinks, granola bars, nuts, whatever. Yep. Fruit, in case you need it. If there's kids and you want to bring kids stuff, snacks or something. Usually they have stuff for the kids, but I try to anyway.
If there's little kids, I almost always buy some little stuffed animal type thing the kids can hold in their hand. That way they're not pinging on each other in the back seat when they're totally bored. They have this little, you can get them at, they're like $5 or $10 at Barnes and Noble, I don't know.
Like a Beanie Baby or something?
Yeah, it's like a little Beanie Baby. Yeah, it just gives them something
Legos?
to
Yeah.
hold and
Probably
to
throw it at you
crayons.
in your head.
By the end of the day.
Yeah, and they're easier to find than those little toy soldiers that I had to go looking for.
Oh, okay.
It dropped.
Wow.
We had to go back to 2 houses to find it. Something that's a little.
Oh, and if your client
Size of an
changes a
apple.
diaper in a house, make sure they take it with them.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And they got the house. And you know whose house it was? It was Johnny Ferrera's house.
Really?
We had 3 kids. It was a Friday afternoon. We've been at it for two full days. It was in Scripps Ranch.
Never had
And she had to change the baby. I'm like, yeah, go ahead. I texted him to tell him. We left. We get all the way back to La Jolla to drop them in traffic, to drop them at their hotel. And she goes, oh my God, I left the diaper there.
Oh my god.
I called Johnny, who's an agent and a friend. Oh, Johnny? He's like, I got it. It's okay. I was like, oh my God. Yeah, stuff happens, you know. So let's talk about a corporate, what we call corporate relo, which is what Amy started getting into. So the large companies, and I'm going to use Qualcomm just because, you know, they're one of the biggest, are contracted out with large corporate relocation companies. Cardis is probably one of the biggest. Rena, don't you think Cardis is probably it here?
That's
Yeah.
what I've dealt with.
Yeah, there's several other small ones, but isn't, I'm just going blank, Relocation Coordinates that we tried, which is local. There's a few, but Cardis you'll hear about. So let's say you're at an open house and a client walks in and they're moving from wherever and they're getting hired by Qualcomm. Which doesn't happen as much as it used to. It used to be so great. It was like the golden ticket for a buyer. But, and they're like, yeah, they may or may not know they're working with a corporate relocation company. So what happens is, and you guys can jump in because I know you guys do them if you know more than I do, is Cardis will contract with Qualcomm and they will pay for a buyout of their home if it's not sold. Now, in an up market, usually the seller's going to go ahead and sell because they'll make more money than what that buyout would be. But in a down market, it's really nice for people who are relocating. They're moving here with Qualcomm, and Qualcomm says, I'll give you $900,000 for your house if it doesn't sell. They usually have them leave it on the market a certain amount of time before they'll do the buyout. They'll pay for all their closing costs. That's part of their offer is I'm paying your closing costs, I'm paying your moving fees, I'll do your buyout. And if you get one of those, we are accredited with them. We work with them all the time. There's actually multiple ones we do. So if you ever hear, oh, I'm with a relo company, call me or Amy and let's see if we've worked with them because usually we're on the list. They can ask for you. It didn't used to be that way. So I just had a client this past year that was with Cardis and their agent was from La Mesa and they were looking in Del Mar. And I was just like, come on. And I've called Cardis before and said, look at you guys, like you need us. Like there's things you're doing that aren't right. But they have these things with like Century 21 or whoever and it's just that, it's frustrating. So that those buyers ended up letting that agent go and picked me, which was great, and I got to work with them.
I was with Cardis and you have to be trained, and also they told me that if they wanted a certain realtor, they will give it up. Yeah.
So
they
if
can
Connie
go with-
meets someone and they say, I'm with Cardis, but we really want you, they can, hey Brandon,
Yes.
they can actually request, didn't used to be that way,
No.
but now it is. So you can say, hey, you can request me. And then reach out to Amy or I just to make sure. It's a lot more paperwork if you work with them, and you got to pay like a 40% referral fee, which sucks. 'Cause you're doing all that work. Okay. So did that sort of answer the sort of corporate relo question I think you asked
Yeah,
way back in the
definitely.
beginning?
They also had a rental ones where you have to show at certain time, and they were really frustrating. Like you're constantly showing, and you barely get
Only
anything.
rentals, yeah.
Yeah.
So part of Relo, which is next here, is rentals. So unfortunately, not everyone comes to buy. Or they plan to buy, but they want to live here for a while first. So there is a lot of short-term housing that's furnished. It's tough in the summer if you're getting along the coast, just because people make so much money. It's a little tougher. But there is, and we're happy to help out. There's corporate apartments that are available. There's a company called Fashion Furniture. If you reach out to them, they can give you their list of all the places they furnish, which is pretty much all up and down I-5, Fashion Furniture. Like they do Signature Point, for instance. So, or you can, and it's funny, you can call Signature Point, bless you, at their office, and they don't even really know how they get their furniture or who you talk to sometimes. So sometimes you'll call there and say, hey, do you guys do furnished? And they'll say no. And say, well, do you have someone you contract with? Or they can go to, what are some of the furniture rental places? Or Court
Court's
Furniture.
really
yeah. And God, they're fast. 2 hours, they have a whole apartment. Court, C-O-R-T, Court Furniture. Yeah, in 2 hours they have your apartment completely furnished. And your client picks the package. Oh, I want a leather couch, and I want all the silverware, and I want 3 TVs, and
Signature Point also, they used to give you a referral.
$500. Yeah. So some of the apartments will pay you a referral fee. Obviously, you can do rentals on the MLS. You can look for seasonal or short term. Yes.
My husband and I lived in an Airbnb for 6 months.
That's a great idea.
While we were looking for a house to buy, we didn't want to sign a lease and wasn't sure how long it would take.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had to
VRBO
move around to
or
a couple of different
Airbnb.
Airbnbs, and we lived in some really nice places and got
Yeah.
a really good feel for the area
Yeah, that's a great idea.
without any kind of contract.
And then the key is, once you get moved into your temporary housing, is to keep in touch with them. Because they're going to be going to open houses, and they're going to be meeting people, and they're going to meet their kids' friends, parents who are realtors, and so you just really need to stay in close contact with them.
And they will be really surprised that you keep in touch.
Okay.
They will, you'll win them when they're ready to
When they're
buy,
ready.
because, I have a $2.5 million sale coming up because I helped
Stay in
them
touch,
get into
yeah.
a temporary furnished.
And I have renters that stayed for 8 years now.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Really? Yeah.
Good job on finding
Yeah.
the perfect match.
Yeah, her kids are like ready for college
Oh
now.
my God.
So how do you get a Relo client that's not a corporate Relo? That's just what we call them. Right now is the key time in open houses to be finding them. Okay? So what I wanted Amy here for is, Amy used to work relocation at Prudential, and she was the open house queen. And she realized in her open houses that there's people wandering in that are interviewing for jobs that have no one to help them, right? And you're looking at small and medium-sized companies, not like your Qualcomm, that are wandering around. They're lucky if they have, someone from the company with them, but that's pretty rare. Goes, oh, I'll go out with you, and we'll pop in some open houses. Probably finding someone on the internet, not necessarily somebody who knows the area. And she was like, this is interesting. There's money here, and we don't have to pay a referral fee. So this is where you make your money. What we started doing, this was before the downturn, so this will tell you how long ago it was. And we didn't email them, we used to send packets. So Amy was talking to me this morning, I called her on the phone, and I'm like, is there anything else I'm missing? And she goes, well, you got to put that packet together. I go, Amy, it's probably email now. Probably going to email a packet. So what we would do, and what I would recommend doing, is if you go online and you go like San Diego Business Journal, they'll give you the fastest growing companies in San Diego. That's who you want to talk to. Who's growing right now, okay? And you don't need a lot of them. So let's say you had 10 companies that agreed to work with you, and you got 1 a year or 2 a year. Would that help your business? Like huge, right? And it's not a lot of effort. Paige, I told you to be here. This is it right here. It's so easy. So you're going to be cold calling. And you're probably asking for HR or who's in charge of hiring and relocation, depending on how big the company is. and you probably will have a script. Malcolm, I'm looking at you, maybe you can write it. I threw one together this morning just to give you an idea. This isn't perfect, because I didn't have one, but this is sort of how it would work. So I'm just going to kind of go through this, and then you can sort of listen to how it would go. So forgive me, this was 7 this morning. Hi, good morning. It's Susan Myers-Pike. I'm with Coastal Premier Properties here in San Diego, and I was contacting you to see if you have a relocation company that you're working with when you're hiring someone into your ABC company. So if they say, oh yeah, we work with Cardis, that's the end of your conversation. If they say no, now keep in mind, you're looking for someone who needs you. If they have no one and they're hiring, they need you, okay? And they're gonna open their arms to you. So it's really cool once they figure out why you're calling and what you're doing. And I wouldn't email, honestly, I get so many emails that I don't pay attention to. I think it really should be a phone call. So I work with companies like yours to help in the hiring process. I'm selling San Diego to the client while you're interviewing the top candidates. So think about it, you're selling San Diego to them. So is that helping them in hiring? For nothing, free, right? Nothing. Being a realtor, I understand that their housing is that new housing is very important to them. This includes a lot of different things, like, you know, not only where they're going to find the right home, but also includes what's their commute time, what the housing costs are, schools, pets, shopping. So you're going to be talking, wouldn't be reading this, but what activities they want to do. Are they interested in biking? Are they interested in hiking? Where are they going to go? So it's not just about the house. And that's something we can help for. Is this something that you guys might have interest in? So if they have interest, it's, excuse me, super easy to get started. Thank you. You don't want to be like this when you're calling. Won't go well. It's super easy to get started. I'll email you a relocation package so you can see what I send to the potential candidates. So you're actually going to send them what you're going to send, which is your intro letter. It's probably going to be your survey for their wish list. It's going to have some links depending on what their interests are. It's going to have an introduction. A video of you would be the best. That would be like awesome, right? Videos are huge. And then what I like to do is to go meet them. So Amy and I would go in, and HR people like to have lunch. Grab coffee. If not, can I stop in for 2 minutes? I want to drop something off. You get a face-to-face, because when you hand me a client, I want you to feel confident of who you're handing it to. So I think it's really important to get a face-to-face. If they're too busy, I drop by, honestly, with a gift during business hours and just ask for them real quick and just say, hey, I'm Susan. We talked on the phone regarding the relocation clients. I just wanted to stop in and introduce myself.
How do I pick a company that I know that they do relocation from out of state? Like, what if it's not?
Growing, fastest growing companies.
Like, how big do they have to be?
They could have 10 employees.
Yeah, not very big.
They grew by 50% last year. You only need 1 or 2 from each company.
Okay.
So I had a couple, the Cronenbergs. Do you remember the Cronenbergs?
That sounds super familiar.
Yeah. So I moved. They do amazing cancer research, and they had a lab at UCLA, and they moved their lab here, and now they own the La Jolla Institute, which is one of the larger cancer fighting research up in Torrey Pines. So I've probably brought 19 people here over the years.
Wow.
It's been 25 years, but
Wow.
yeah, and they're, you know,
20 years.
pretty cool. Yeah. So, you know, that's all it is. It actually kind of started with them, for me. So anyway, so that's,
I have
yes.
a quick question.
Yeah.
Regarding the hefty corporate relocation fee,
Mm-hmm.
and you're advocating for us to talk to fastest growing companies,
Mm-hmm.
what's to say that they'll say, sure, we can help you on, but it's a 40% fee? Like, is there any scripts? Is there any tricks?
Who are
Is
you
there any-
paying? They're not licensed.
No,
There's
they're
no
not.
fee,
Okay,
right?
that was the part I'm like,
Unless
I'm
they
not
have a
just
relocation company that can't.
Take someone in the golf industry. Let's say one of the golfing companies comes up and they just grew tremendously, or some marketing company just came up, right? You can't pay them. There's nothing. They're not even going to ask for it. You're going to help them hire. So you're going to do that job for them of bringing somebody in and showing San Diego and showing the neighborhoods and getting them settled. So when they're coming to interview, I mean, that's like probably as important as that interview is, right? And moving their family here. So you have to pay them. It won't even come
They're
up.
gonna like it because
Interesting.
you're a relocation specialist. Not everybody could do relos.
Right.
I'm making you a specialist. I can give you a
Right
little
now.
certificate,
This class
So,
qualifies you.
whatever you want.
Class, if you've been to this class, you're now certified.
Yeah. Oh, Brennan, can you guys market that out? Too bad you missed the class. Everyone's now certified who was there. Your relocation.
They're gonna be
But
so
it's
mad.
not rocket science. No, Amy and I have sat down with a lot of agents in this company and said, we made a ton of money doing this. Do it. Nobody's doing it.
Forget about it.
So easy. It's so easy. Okay? So I have somebody coming in February right now. She just had a baby. So I pulled up school stuff, which may be of interest to her right now. I found all these sites, if you're young moms, you might know, of different like mom yoga classes, sign language classes at the library for the kids so they can like talk to the babies. And I just started sending links on that. And she's like, oh my God. So we're just getting connected. You know, the libraries offer a lot for that kind of thing.
Okay, can I get run through by, so first you're saying call, and then you send the package, are you saying by email, cause I'm doing a video?
Yeah, I'm gonna send an email and you'll have an intro, I put an intro email in there so they
Okay.
can see you.
And then after that is take them to lunch?
So if you can get in to see them face to face, it's really important. So if you go look at, I would love to take you to lunch or grab coffee or just stop in for 2 minutes so we can get a face to face. Cause you're gonna be sending me important candidates that are coming and interviewing
I
with
need
your
to know.
company. And I want you to meet me and me to meet you. It's both ways, okay? So they know when they hand it off to Connie where it's going to. When Carla gets it, they're like, oh, it's in Carla's hands. We know we're good.
So even after that, I email and I'm not getting response, I could do a drop by and it wouldn't be soliciting.
Sure.
Okay.
So the key is keeping in touch. So this is your new farm. This is your new farm, okay? So I tell them up front or when I meet them, I like it when I meet them, if I can get in there, and usually HR people are willing to meet. Like that's what they do all day is they meet with people,
They want
you
free
know,
lunch.
they do that. So you just need to get in that schedule, yeah. Is how do you want me to communicate with you? So what we would do is we would drop like a voicemail back then, or you could drop an email. Every 2 weeks I'm gonna have a reminder going out, or once a month, whatever you're comfortable with. That says, hey, it's me, it's Connie. Is there anything you need? Anybody coming in right now? Just as a reminder. Like you don't have to call me back. I just want it as a reminder. You're going to do pop buys for the holidays. You are going to make these people your best friend. So pop buys, you know, could be any little gift, bottle of wine as a thank you. You need to be in front of them.
I was
Without
thinking
bugging them.
that the warmer way to touch that, I
Mhm.
thought was like if you have a friend that works at a big company,
Mm-hmm.
maybe they could introduce you to an HR person.
Yeah, you know what? That's a great idea. So think about, this is good. I didn't write this down and that's really good. So think about who you've worked with before and where they're at, okay? So maybe you have somebody with
I was just thinking
a biotech
friends.
company. Sure, it could be friends or it could be a client.
And then I could just shoot an
Mhm.
email, say, can you connect me to your HR person? I'm a relocation specialist and maybe that might be a, well, I was
Write that
with them.
down, relocation
Is there
specialist.
actually a class at
There
SDNR
actually
for
is a
relocation?
Really?
There is?
Yeah.
There is.
Well,
I
some
don't know.
companies offer it. I mean, years ago
But
when
they're
I
not
was
gonna tell you what we
Yeah.
just told you, so don't repeat it.
yeah, when I was
Yeah,
at Windermere,
seriously.
they had a class. You had to go for I don't know, it was a day or 2 days.
Yeah, I did that.
I interviewed for Windermere just recently, they said that I would have to go to
They brought
Seattle.
people down.
You have to go
from
where?
Seattle.
Seattle?
I would have to go to
Yeah.
Seattle to be
Yeah.
a relocation specialist, to be certified with Windermere, that I would have to go to Seattle.
Yeah,
It would be
I
a
had the
3
same
to
thing.
5 day
Just
trip.
to make money out of it.
And you'd have to qualify
That's
before
what it
you'd
is.
even be selected to go to Seattle, and of
Yes.
course, they're not gonna pay for
At
anything.
Coldwell Banker, I was Carter's
Right.
relocation specialist, and I just had to go to a seminar here and there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We knew it.
And you can get in and out of their favor pretty often. So if you think about it, if you can get 10 that you can get communication with, or you get 5,
Yeah.
you know, that's great. I mean, that's awesome. You can pull it up together. If you guys are like, hey, let's get together and cold call together and see what we can get, you know. If you want to do it on your own. San Diego Business Journal has like 200 of the fastest growing companies, and we do have them here. So it doesn't have to be a big company. You don't want the big ones because they're going to want someone like Cardis, and that's not what we do. We don't do buyouts. No. Questions? Yeah.
One suggestion on capturing people at open houses,
Mhm.
I make myself like the Chamber of Commerce. So,
Go get all those little
yeah,
pamphlets.
you go and get all those little
Discounts
pamphlets.
for the zoo.
Yes, yeah, like we have,
Yeah.
in the Del Mar
Oh, that's a
Information
good
Center.
Down our
idea.
office has them.
And, I usually have a few in my car when I'm doing an open house, and then I can say, oh, well, blah, blah, blah.
And those darn free maps from the title company, even though it's all online, they have those beautiful
Right.
color-coded
Right.
maps for each area that you can
Yes.
pull out.
Or your subscription to AAA. I can't
Mhm.
tell you how many times I have gone to AAA and gotten every
That's a great
map for
idea.
every single area. You put your business card on it,
Great
or I used to
idea.
have a stamp with my name and contact information.
Wow.
When I did tons of Relo, and
Mhm.
I would just hand them like the 5 maps for San Diego counts.
That's great.
And people keep that stuff.
That's great,
I
yeah.
want them to
Well, they
have
want
stuff.
things to read and look at and absorb
And they
and,
need it in the car.
yeah, exactly.
And then you can
You could take like one of the Coastal Premier folders and put them together. So Amy and I used to, well, where we get the Del Mar information stuff is at the airport.
Yes, right.
Every time I'm at the airport, I just grab like 10 of these, 10
Oh,
of
yeah.
those, 10, then go to the Del Mar Information Center. Because we have to keep that. I'm on video, aren't I? I'm going to be in trouble.
I don't know.
But,
You can go to any of the big
That's what they're there
hotels
for,
too.
though.
Right?
yeah, but
Right.
yeah, exactly.
The
And
hotels
they,
have it.
exactly.
You're not selling
Thank
them,
you,
you're
Rena.
still giving
I'm
the
not
information
selling
away,
them.
so it should be
Exactly.
fine.
I'm just
Yeah.
transferring
It should be fine.
before. I'm just a middleman for the
It's
information.
marketing. You're
So
helping their
yeah,
marketing
but if you got
program.
the couple of the Coastal Premier folders, you
Yeah.
put your card in, you put a couple things in, do an intro letter about who you are, and then just keep them with you at an open house.
Yep.
Not for everybody, just for relos.
Do you think it's important to have some kind of label to distinguish it from other kind of folders?
Should we? Do you want some kind of gold sticker? that
No,
says
but I mean, if you
relocation
say
specialist?
relocation-
No, I love this.
No, but
On
like,
your card.
no, I'm talking like when I give a folder,
Yeah.
they're just gonna think it's some folder for some realtor.
That's why she's saying a sticker to make it look
Yes,
special and jazzy
yeah.
and significant.
I know, but I wanted to say
Relocation
something.
specialist.
But I
It could
wanted
be a big sticker. It could be a headline
April,
sticker.
God.
Rather than get my own folders. I'm excited.
I didn't get to get my. It's okay. It's not a big deal.
If I can help, I'm happy to. You can put relocation specialist on your card.
No, I'm not saying that. Oh gosh, never mind.
Hello, specialist.
I know what you're saying.
Certified.
And
You do?
If, yes.
We just
and if
think
you,
test
and if,
out.
if
Somebody
anybody,
does.
If anybody wants help putting together your package, just like we help
Thank
put
you.
together
Right.
listing listing presentations, you can come to the marketing department and we can sit down and brainstorm on what to.
Great. That's
Together.
what I meant.
Another thing I wanted to tell you is I've talked to all of you and I know that you're all like good talking on the phone and everything. So you could all get emails to follow up with because earlier this year we had 2 interns call 50 companies and they got 5 emails to send additional from HR to send
Wow.
information, and these were people that have never talked on the phone before, so the HR departments are wanting and willing to, they need help,
So you're saying someone without any experience of talking to someone still had a 10% conversion rate.
that's correct.
So us in the room that is maybe a little bit better
You can get
connecting with
More
people over the
experience.
phone and more experience to have a higher conversion rate, so it's
Almost
definitely not wasting your time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm just pulling up San Diego Business Journal. If you go top companies, there's like a lot of them for 2018. You can go last year too.
Sure.
Maybe some other ones show up. Lists. You can start with Z or you can start with A. Okay? So, probably have the computer in front of you so you know a little about something if you're calling a golf company or you're calling a biotech company. But I love the idea too, thank you for sharing, about thinking about who you know. So it's, that's a little warmer of like, hey, I'm a relocation specialist at Coastal Premier. This is what we do. Would you introduce me to someone in HR or someone who would be responsible for that? Should we do they all need relocation specialists somewhere now.
Yeah, we can put it on,
Signature line?
we can put it
That's
on
all it is.
signature line, business cards.
My card says relocation specialist.
Well, there you
Certified.
go. And I had this talk with you once before, so
I know,
that's
like
fine.
some years ago.
You're like, I'm hearing it again and I still haven't done it. But you're pretty set with where you are with your business.
I am
think
right
you
now.
like the flow
Yeah.
of it. But if you want to pick things up with those grandkids,
I know.
quiet down a little.
It's
She's
still
enjoying those
exciting.
grandkids. Yeah,
Yeah.
you know how to do it. So
Well, and for me, the satisfaction of helping a relo client is humongous.
They love you
They
too.
love
Intrinsic
you,
reward.
and especially if they're relo buyers, you've now like done everything. You've created their new life.
You may be their
Made
only friend in San Diego right
yes,
now.
that's happened.
Yeah.
And then they have bought. They live here. They work here, and they are building their network. So if you keep in touch with them,
All their family moves here.
their family moves here, or
They come
You
to
know?
visit. Yep. Yep, exactly.
right.
Think about how many people all of a sudden their family's visiting. So, you know,
Yeah.
it's really important to stay in touch because the rest of them start moving here.
So my clients who I just
I didn't
sold,
get any of your relatives, Paige. You
Uh-oh.
got licensed too quick.
Because they're so close.
the clients that I just sold the Brookburn house, my listing,
Yes.
I helped them buy it 6 years ago.
Okay.
They were relocating here.
Mhm.
I met them at an open house and I gave them my Chamber of Commerce stuff. And I had a map.
Wow.
And they then introduced me to the head of HR at the small company that he worked with. And I've had
Perfect.
3 referrals.
There you go.
And the buyers of that house.
Oh, that's right.
Relocation from San Francisco.
Oh,
and they had an open house.
Oh, okay.
That's
This
right.
is how it all
Right.
works.
Yes.
That's right, Carla.
Yes,
Oh, and then you guys did that deal.
And then we did that.
It's
too.
that whole trickle effect.
Right.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
So if you have any questions, if things come up, if you've got one coming in and you haven't prepared before and you want to go through it, let us know. Happy to help. Thanks for your help. Marketing is always helpful.
Marketing.
Thank you.
Hunter, good job on the video. Good preparation. So thanks, everybody.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Susan.